Welcome to my channel. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. Story 1. It all started when I went out to the forest one afternoon. I wasn't doing anything special, just wandering around like I always did. Back then, the forest was a big part of our lives. We got firewood, hunted for food, and sometimes just walked to clear our heads. It was a peaceful place, but it always felt like it had secrets. That day, as I walked deeper into the trees, something shiny caught my eye. It was lying there on the ground, half covered in dirt and leaves. At first, I thought it was just a piece of metal, or maybe a rock catching the sunlight. But when I bent down to pick it up, my heart skipped a beat. It was gold. A gold bar. Now, I didn't know much about gold back then, but I knew enough to know it was valuable. My hands were shaking as I held it. It was heavy, solid, and smooth. For a moment, I just stood there staring at it, wondering how in the world something like that ended up in the middle of nowhere. But after a while, I stopped thinking about it. I was too excited. Gold, I whispered to myself over and over. I found gold. I quickly wrapped it in my jacket and hurried back to the village. The whole way, my mind was racing. What could I do with it? Should I sell it, hide it, keep it for later? I didn't tell anyone, not even my family. Something inside me said to keep it a secret, and I listened. That night, as I lay in bed, I couldn't stop thinking about the gold. I had hidden it under the bed, but even then I felt uneasy. It was like I could still feel its weight in my hands, and every time I closed my eyes, I saw it. I told myself it was just excitement, that it would pass. But then, the dream started. The dream was strange. I was back in the forest, standing in the exact spot where I found the gold. Everything looked the same, except it was darker, like the sun couldn't shine through the trees. And there was a man standing there. I couldn't see his face clearly, but he was dressed in old, tattered clothes. He didn't say anything. He just stood there staring at me. When I woke up, I brushed it off. It was just a dream, I told myself. Nothing to worry about. But the next night, it happened again. This time, the man was closer. I could see his face now. He looked angry. His eyes were dark, and his skin was pale, almost gray. He pointed at me, then pointed at the ground where I found the gold. I woke up sweating. Just a bad dream, I muttered. It doesn't mean anything. But deep down, I knew it wasn't just a dream. Something wasn't right. The following days were worse. I started seeing the man when I was awake. It was just out of the corner of my eye, a shadow, a flicker of movement, but then he became clearer. I'd see him standing at the edge of the forest watching me. Once I saw him in my own yard, he didn't move, didn't make a sound, just stared. By now, I was scared out of my mind. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I wanted to tell someone, but how could I explain it? One night, after another sleepless night, I decided to take the gold back. I didn't know what else to do. Maybe the man wanted it back. Maybe that would make him leave me alone. So I waited until everyone in the house was asleep. Then I crept outside with the gold in my jacket. The forest felt different that night. The trees seemed taller, the shadows darker. I could hear every little sound, twigs snapping, leaves rustling, even my own breathing. When I reached the spot where I found the gold, I stopped. The man was there, waiting for me. This time he spoke. "You took what was mine," he said, his voice low and cold. I couldn't say anything. My mouth was dry, and my legs felt like they were stuck to the ground. "Bury it," he said. I dropped to my knees and started digging with my hands. The dirt was cold and damp, but I didn't care. I just wanted this nightmare to end. When the hole was deep enough, I placed the gold inside and covered it with soil. When I looked up, the man was gone. I ran back to the village as fast as I could. I didn't look back, didn't stop until I was back in my bed. That night, for the time in weeks, I slept peacefully. The next morning, I went back to the forest to make sure the gold was still buried. It was, and the man was nowhere to be seen. After that, everything went back to normal. The dream stopped, and I never saw the man again. But I learned my lesson. Some things aren't meant to be taken. Even now, when I think about that gold bar, I get chills. I don't know who the man was or why the gold was so important to him, but I know one thing for sure. I'll never mess with something like that again. Story 2. Let me tell you a story that happened a long time ago when I was still young. One afternoon, I went out to the forest. I wasn't looking for anything in particular, maybe some wild fruits or herbs to bring back to my mom. The sun was starting to set, but it wasn't dark yet, so I thought I had time. You know how it is when the air feels just right and the light makes everything look golden? That's how it was. I walked deeper than I should have, not thinking much of it. Then, out of nowhere, I saw something shiny in the dirt. I thought it was just a rock catching the sunlight, but when I got closer, my heart nearly stopped. It was a gold bar. I swear it was real gold. It was heavy, and it gleamed like nothing I'd ever seen before. My hands shook as I picked it up. I looked around to see if anyone was nearby, but it was just me and the trees. My thought was to leave it. You know how our elders always say that finding something too good to be true usually comes with a price? But then I thought, what if this is my blessing? I wrapped the gold in my scarf and headed home, my heart pounding the whole way. I told no one, not my mom, not my brothers, no one. I wanted to be sure of the situation. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept looking at the gold bar, turning it over in my hands. It felt warm, almost like it was alive, but it was mine now, right? I earned it because I found it. At least that's what I told myself. The few days were fine, nothing weird happened, and I started to think I was just lucky. But then I started seeing her. It always happened at night. Just when I was about to fall asleep, I'd hear the faint sound of someone walking outside. I thought it was one of the neighbors, but when I peeked out the door, I didn't see anyone. Then one night, I saw her. She was standing just outside my house, her long hair flowing like water. She was wearing a black, colorful dress that looked like it hadn't been washed in years. Her face was pale, and her eyes were the worst part. They shone like gold, the same color as the bar I found. She didn't say anything. She just stood there, staring at me. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I tried to go about my business like nothing happened, but I couldn't stop thinking about her. Who was she? Why was she here? I told myself it was just my imagination, that maybe I was working too hard and needed more sleep. But deep down, I knew better. The nights got worse. Every time I closed my eyes, I felt like she was getting closer. Sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night and hear breathing, heavy and slow, like someone was right next to me. I started to feel sick, like something was draining the life out of me. And then it happened. One night I woke up and she was there. She was sitting on my chest, her long hair falling all around me like a curtain. Her face was so close to mine that I could feel her cold breath on my skin. Her eyes, those damn golden eyes, pierced right into me. I couldn't move. No matter how hard I tried, my body wouldn't listen. She didn't say anything. She just stared at me, her lips slightly parted, as if she was deciding what to do next. Then she smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. It was the kind of smile that makes your blood run cold. "You took what's mine," she said, her voice barely more than a whisper. I tried to speak, to apologize, to do something, but nothing came out. She leaned in closer, so close that her hair brushed against my face. "Don't do it again," she hissed, and then she was gone. I don't know how long I lay there staring at the ceiling, my chest heaving as I tried to catch my breath. The room was quiet, too quiet, like the whole world had stopped moving. When morning came, the thing I did was check on the gold. It was gone. I tore apart my room, thinking maybe I'd hidden it somewhere in my panic, but it was nowhere to be found. That gold bar had just vanished, like it was never there in the place. After that, I couldn't stay in the house. I left the village for a while, hoping to escape whatever curse I'd brought on myself. I went to stay with a relative in a different village for a week or so. It was only after I knew everything was fine that I came back home. Thank you for listening to this video. I'll see you in the next one.